The Travis Walton Incident, 1975. 5 missing days, terror inside the ship. A hospital room? When Travis Walton opened his eyes, the first thing he felt was terrible pain. His chest was burning, his head was throbbing, and his entire body was numb. He was lying on his back. The air above him was cold and damp. His eyes were blurry, but he realized the light overhead did not resemble the light of that golden disk in the forest. This was a cold, white, sterile light. His first thought was that his friends had gotten him out of the woods and brought him to a hospital. He tried to call out, "Mike? Alan?" but only a muffled groan came from his throat. He tried to sit up slowly. He still had his clothes on, his jeans and shirt, but he was lying on a hard, metallic surface resembling a stretcher or table. When his vision cleared, he looked around and froze in horror. This was not a hospital room. The walls were curved and made of brushed metal. The room was circular, and the ceiling was strangely low. There were no familiar medical devices, 4 poles, or doctors around. There were only strange, rectangular metal boxes and cable-like structures hanging from the wall that he couldn't make sense of. Travis realized he was in the wrong place. A very wrong place. The encounter, the doctors. As Travis tried to get off the stretcher in panic, he noticed movement on the other side of the room. 3 figures were approaching him through the dim light. Travis thought they were doctors or nurses. He yelled, "Hey, help me! What happened to me?" But when the figures stepped into the light, Travis's scream caught in his throat. These entities did not look like the frail, big-headed Greys described by Betty and Barney Hill or other abduction cases. Height and build, they were about 5 feet, 1.50 meters, tall. Their bodies were thin but humanoid. Their heads were large in proportion to their bodies, but not as disproportionate as the Greys. Face and eyes, what terrified Travis the most were their faces. They had almost no nose, just 2 small holes. Their mouth was just a thin line. Their eyes were huge, completely black, and glassy. But they didn't look calm like in the Hill case, they looked piercing and threatening. Skin and clothing, their skin was smooth, chalk white, or very light gray. They wore seamless, form-fitting, orange-brown jumpsuits. The moment Travis realized these beings were not human, he experienced a primal burst of fear. Panic and attack. Travis thought he had to fight for his life. He jumped off the table he was lying on and backed away. The entities kept coming towards him. There was no expression on their faces, they moved like robots. Travis grabbed something he could get his hands on, a piece of metal pipe or tool-like object hanging from the wall, and swung it at the entities. The entities paused, but they didn't seem scared, rather, they seemed surprised or confused by Travis's aggressive reaction. They communicated among themselves with strange, high-pitched sounds that scratched Travis's brain. Taking advantage of the entity's pause, Travis ran towards an opening resembling a door leading out of the room. He bolted into the corridor. The star map and humanoid beings. Travis started running through narrow and curved metal corridors. This place was like a maze. Finally, he came to a larger, circular room. In the middle of the room was a cylindrical column made of a transparent material, inside of which a pulsating, yellowish light was swirling. This resembled the reactor Lazar mentioned. Even more impressive were the walls of the room. When Travis entered the room, the walls suddenly became transparent, revealing the view outside. Travis expected to see Earth outside. But what he saw was the infinite, dark vacuum of space and billions of stars. There were galaxies or nebulae moving among them. They were not in orbit around a planet, they were in deep space. Travis approached a place resembling a control panel in the middle of the room. There were no buttons or levers on it, just a smooth surface that emitted light when he placed his hand on it, and a screen above it where 3-dimensional star maps appeared. Just then, he heard a sound behind him. Travis turned quickly and experienced his second major shock. The being standing in front of him looked nothing like those small, terrifying creatures. It was a human, about 6 feet 2 inches, 1.90 meters, tall, athletically built, with shoulder-length blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. He wore a bright blue jumpsuit. He smiled at Travis, but this was not a warm smile, it was more like a parent looking at a naughty child. Medical procedure, the silent scream. Travis was relieved to see this human. Thank God. Who are you? Are you going to save me? He asked. But the blonde man didn't answer. He just smiled and, taking Travis by the arm, led him gently but with irresistible force to another room. This new room was similar to the first one he woke up in, but there was more medical equipment. Inside, 2 of those small entities he first saw were waiting. Travis realized he was trapped. He tried to resist, but the blonde man's strength was superhuman. He easily laid him on the table. One of the entities placed a transparent, mask-like device on Travis's face. Travis began to lose consciousness. Travis Walton, from his account, I don't remember what they did to me. I just remember them putting that mask on my face and everything going black. But I can never forget the fear I felt at that moment, that helplessness. Missing time. The last thing Travis remembered was that mask covering his face and his consciousness sinking into darkness. He didn't know how much time had passed. Hours? Days? There was no concept of time inside the ship. No night or day. Meanwhile, 5 days had passed on Earth. His friends were accused of murder, the town was in chaos, and Travis Walton was transforming from a missing person into a legend. And then, suddenly, Travis woke up again in pain. But this time he wasn't on a metal table. He was on cold asphalt. In the next chapter, we will witness the dramatic finale of the Travis Walton story. How was Travis found 5 days later on the roadside, miles away from where the incident occurred? Who found him? The physical and psychological trauma he experienced upon his return, the media circus, and the debate that hasn't ended for 50 years. Is Travis Walton telling the truth, or is this the biggest lie in history? Watch the 4th video to witness the nightmare of those left behind and continue to stay with us in this thrilling story.